Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for The Early Worm Gets the Bird, released in 1940. It's the 273rd in the series and it's directed by Tex Avery. There's no physical media release aside from Laserdisc, if you want to go back that far. And as you watch the review, it should be pretty apparent why. Although in this case, it is a bit of a shame because, while it is problematic, this one has a lot of things in it that I quite like that would absolutely shine in a new restoration. In case you haven't seen this one, it is in the public domain, and I'll have this short made available to you at the end of this review. But essentially, you have three birds, one of which is reading a book called The Early Bird Gets the Worm, and he's all fascinated about waking up early to catch a worm. The mother warns the triplets, nope, don't go outside, otherwise the fox will get you. Of course, the bird that's reading the book ignores this warning, goes out, encounters a worm, we get some shenanigans, and naturally the fox appears as well. So let's have a look at this short from start to finish and go through a lot of the references, because there is a lot of interesting things in this one. It's not Tex Avery's finest, even if you put aside any of the problematic elements, but there are definitely some interesting observations. I hadn't seen it for a while since I did the original commentary track, but this short feels like Avery going back to the kind of shorts he made before he made all those spot gag shorts. And I'm talking about shorts like I Want to Be a Sailor, I Love to Be a Singer, that sort of thing, where you've got a rebellious character going against the wishes of their parent, and so on. So that's what this short feels like, and if you see the short at the very end, you'll know what I'm talking about. The title itself is a play on the phrase, the early bird gets the worm, just like the novel that the little bird reads later on. Now, we see at the opening that shows us the cartoon version of a cotton field, and we hear old folks at home. It's a minstrel song. I advise you not to look at the lyrics because they're very problematic today, but it is what it is. We just have to accept that that's what it was at the time. But it is a beautiful pan shot, and again, it's a shame that this one will likely not get a restoration because this opening reminds me of the sort of thing that Disney would do with like the multiplaning camera where you've got the different layers of the background. It looks absolutely amazing, and considering that the budgets would be lower than Disney, Avery was able to make it work. And yeah, of course it has to be Blackbird. Ha ha, right? Look, at least blackbirds are real birds, so let's just move on from that part. So we see the three children, they say their prayers, Mammy's looking on, and we get the usual slow pace of the prayer, and then you got the quick, oh, P.S., amen, and then they go to sleep. So it's your typical Tex Avery gag that you would have seen quite a few times by now. Now, the mother's voice is voiced by Sarah Berner, and she also does the voice of the worm later on. I'm not going to get into the whole thing about people who are not of color voicing people of color and so on and so forth. It is what it is. That's what happened back then. I will say, though, her ability to mimic the different dialects, not just in this short, but also in other shorts, as stereotypical as it may be, she does really well, all things considered. Yeah, again, it's problematic, but look, it is what it is. Can't really do much about it. So the lights go out, and again, a restoration will just showcase how beautiful the play of light is that Avery does in this short, especially around the beginning before they go outside. So again, the theme is similar to I Love to Singer and I Want to Be a Sailor, where a child and family wants to be different. So here, he's obsessed with the book The Early Bird Gets the Worm. He's voiced here by Mel Blanc in a sped up voice similar to what they would do with his voice for Tweety later on. And he even wakes up his brother, who is also voiced by Mal, who doesn't care about this book or anything. He just wants to get to sleep. So in the next room, Mammy is all about them precious little honey lambs as she settles into bed as well. And again, I love the play of light because in this case, it actually moves the story forward because it's like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be dark in that room. What's going on? And that leads to the next scene. So she sees that he's reading this book, she's not happy, she chucks it out an open window, and she just tells off her son to stalk the early worm is to be predator and prey. So she then goes on about how the fox will catch you. So she's obviously foreshadowing what's going to happen later on in the short, but of course, the triplets are now curious about this fox because they're young. I'm guessing they've never seen a fox before, and Mammy says, and he loves to eat little birds just like you, and I love the shadows, how when she's talking about the fox, she even stretches her beak to suggest a nose, which would be touched upon later on when the little bird actually sees the fox. And the kids just go under the covers as Mammy, like, yep, I've scared the kids straight. Nothing's going to go wrong. So good night. And yes, the rebellious figure is like, nah, I'm not scared of any fox. And as you expect, the bird is headstrong and he's going to set the alarm clock to wake up earlier than his brothers and catch this worm. And according to Keith Scott, the third bird is voiced by Margaret Hill. So the alarm clock suggests the passage of time, and again, we get that beautiful shot of there being the next morning with the rooster's crow, and we get your typical Tex Avery gag. The alarm goes off, just for a brief moment where the bird says, shh. So the bird maybe didn't get much sleep, being very excited like it's Christmas or something, right? And we get yet another usual Avery type gag. The bird tiptoes around and in a typical Avery fashion, just quickly rushes by the door frame. So yeah. The next gag, though, I believe this is the first time Avery has tried it, and it's a gag that Avery would reuse, but each and every time he would actually improve upon, and that's where a character is seemingly falling, but then the last moment just stops the fall and just casually walks off, and that's it. It's not quite there in terms of timing, so Tex may have looked at it saying, hey, I like this, but I could do better next time. And sure enough, he does. And it's the kind of gag that ended up allegedly getting him fired later on, so there you are. So we are actually almost halfway through this short, and up until now, it's very story-driven, not much gags. We just get the whole setup. Tex Avery's taking his time setting things up, and now is the fun stuff, so we get all the gags. So the bird does a dog bit where he's just sniffing along trying to find this bird. Why a dog, I don't know, but anyway. And then we see the worm, and this worm kind of looks like something Freeling would have done around this time. I don't know, but maybe they share the same designer or something, who knows. But the worm ends up reading the book that is conveniently there, which for the purposes of the short is fine. Whatever. We gotta move the story along. We even hear, we got fun in the background, then that foreshadows the fun this worm's going to have, which is pretty good. So now the worm does the dog bit and sniffs out the bird, and we end up seeing a lot of cutting between the two scenes. We know they're going to end up spotting each other, but how are they going to react? Well, let's find out. And the two end up freaking each other out, which is pretty funny to see. The worm goes into the hole, and the bird is frustrated. It's kind of weird that a similar thing would be done not too long after, featuring a certain wascally wabbit. So again, Avery does something here and he proves on it later on. And I love the fact that the worm ends up joining the bird in yelling at the hole. It's like this is a Bugs Bunny worm of some sort. It's the sort of character that Bugs Bunny would end up taking on once the character gets more refined. And then we see a whole bunch of cans and bottles, and we see that usual, oh, which way did he go kind of gag, where the main character, whether it's protagonist or antagonist, is tricked by the other character saying they went that way. Gee, thanks a lot. They go on, and then the character realizes, yes, I'm a sucker. And in this case, the bird literally turns into a lollipop sucker, which once again, Avery would revisit this gag a few times later on, one of which is very unfortunate, but it is what it is. So this is quite clever. The worm hides in the flower, and the bird is tricked into thinking that it's a bee in the flower. So, okay, we see that little bit where the worm is like, yeah, I snuck out and I tricked this worm, but an interesting twist, and this just shows that the worm is being addicted to the bird. He calls the bird back to chase him some more. The bird then sees another flower and thinks, oh, this worm is doing it again. But no, we get a real bee this time, which gave me a big chuckle. I thought that was a pretty clever gag. And now for the third act, where we see this fox, and that was foreshadowed by Mammy earlier on, because we know that's going to happen. I mean, why else would, story-wise, they mention the whole fox, right? But anyway, and yes, no Avery cartoon's complete without the villain announcing himself as the villain. But I do like the added touch of, as if he didn't know. I think Avery by this point is realizing, yeah, the audience has caught on to some of these gags. I gotta do something a little different this time, so as if he didn't know, it's like, hey, I know you guys are aware of the punchline here, so hey, let's laugh together. Fantastic. But if you look closely at the way the fox is running at first, it's funny how the fox is running, but the front feet are like human hands. It's very weird, isn't it? You only see it very briefly, but yeah, oof. It just looks very awkward. But anyway, but I do love the surprised look on the fox's face when he realizes that the bird doesn't seem to know that the fox actually wants him. And he's like, oh, this bird doesn't realize I'm a fox. Oh, okay then, whatever. And I love Mel Blanc's delivery as the fox, we'll get him. And the whole discussion is just hilarious between the bird and the fox. The fox is just confused and then realizes, oh yeah, this bird just doesn't realize things. So he's just going along with what the bird's saying. We gotta watch out for the fox. The fox and all that. And the bird slowly but surely comes to the realization that it's a fox he's talking to, and even stretches out his beak just like his mammy does. For some reason, the bird decides, you know what, I'm going to try and sleepwalk away to escape, but ends up getting caught anyway. But, of course, right? So the worm decides, yeah, I should probably help out. I just love how he just waits for a few moments thinking about it. All right, I'll help him. And he decides the best course of action here is to piss off this bee. And sure enough, we get this long scene of all these very tight cuts of this bee approaching. But in the meantime, somehow the fox has 2 slices of bread in his pocket, all ready to go. Because why not? He even has some catsup, which is another little setup for a gag we're going to see very shortly. So there's more and more quick cutting. It builds up the tension. You know what's going to happen, that the bee will end up missing this worm and end up stinging this fox. And that shot of the fox being stung goes by so quickly compared to all that build-up. It's fantastic. Avery, even at this point, even though this is not one of his finest works, he's still a master of timing. It's amazing. Then we get a scene where it's kind of weird, but I don't know, I like it. I just love the overdramatic performance by Mel Blanc here, where the fox thinks the catsup is his own blood, and he starts yelling about how he got stabbed. The animation is not the strongest I've seen doing that kind of thing, but Mel Blanc's delivery completely sells it for me. Absolutely love it. So, the other Looney Tunes or Merry Melody shorts by this point would have probably ended here with like a truce between the worm and the bird, but then the bee comes back into it again, and the bird ends up going back to bed, pretending he was in bed all along. The 3 wake up, Mammy enters and asks about breakfast choices, with our main bird being completely tired after what's happened, but anyway, can't really blame him, waking up 5 a.m. But anyway, Mammy asks about their breakfast choices, so the other 2 birds want worms, our main bird declines, but then for some weird reason the worm from our little adventure just pipes up, meaning that his life will probably end here because Mammy will probably end up doing something to that worm. But anyway, I think even the worm realizes, whoops, I shouldn't have said anything. But anyway. Alright. This isn't the greatest. It's not the worst either. It's problematic, but thankfully this one's not too bad in terms of the elements that haven't aged particularly well. But there are plenty of moments here that shine, especially with the shadows and lights, and some of the gags are funny as well. And then you got gags that Avery will refine later on. Look, this one gets probably a 6 out of 10 for me. It's not going to be a go-to Avery short. Maybe when I see this one restored, maybe I'll appreciate it even more because there might be some more details that pop out that I haven't seen in this rather murky Laserdisc print. But in any case, it's still worth watching, and it's certainly better than his Sense of Eleven efforts, that's for sure. But judge for yourself. I'll play the short for you right now, so that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.
ball does.
Them precious little honey lambs. Willie, you all hand over that book. I declare to goodness, you is too young to be reading that trash. And besides, if you all try to catch that worm, the old fox will catch you.
The fox? What's that, Mammy?
Oh, he's this tall, with big, round, green eyes, and a long, pointed nose, and long, sharp teeth. And he just loves to eat little birds, just like you. Now you all shut them big brown eyes and get to sleep.
Oh, I ain't scared of no old fox. I'm gonna get myself up early and get me that worm for breakfast.
Yeah, and the fox will get you.
Oh, who's scared? I'm going to see for myself what that early bird look like. You won't come out of there and fight like a worm. I dare you to come out. Come on, and double dance, you little swimmer rat. Yeah, come on out and fight. Come on, I double dare you to come out. Come on, come on out there. I'll get you, you worm. I'll get you. Where's you? Where's he? I'll get him. Come on out of there. Come on. There he goes. Where? There. Go get him. You all trying to catch him too?
Sure.
He sure is a tricky little cuss, ain't he? But we'll get him, won't we?
Yeah, we'll get him.
But there's one thing us early birds gotta watch out for around here. The fox.
The fox?
Yeah, my mammy done told me that he eats little birds. She says he's this tall. He's tall as you is. And she says he's got great big green eyes. Just like you all. And a pointed nose like yours. And long sharp teeth. Just like Don't eat me. I ain't that big all the time. I'm just a mouth, a very small mouthful. Please let me go.
Lord, I've been stabbed. They've done killed me. Doctor, doctor, save me. Save me. Hallelujah. Save me.
Wake up, my little sugar plums. Did y'all sleep good?
Yes, Mammy. Yes, Mammy. Yes, Mammy.
And just what does my little angels want for breakfast?
Worms! Worms! I don't want no worms for breakfast, Mammy. Neither does I, Mammy.